And as we do recognize Labor Day, a possible auto workers strike is looming, with the United Auto Workers Union saying its members voted overwhelmingly in favor of authorizing a strike if an agreement is not reached by September 14th.
Although a strike by the UAW is not a certainty, many industry executives and analysts are bracing for walkouts, with what the UAW being seen as more confrontational as the mid-September deadline approaches.
Joining us to discuss, President of National Right to Work Committee, Mark Mix. Earlier today, when we asked about the potential strike, President Biden had this to say. Let's listen.
Are you worried about an auto strike? An auto strike? UAW?
Mark, what do you think? Is there one likely to happen?
Well, you know, if you listen to Shawn Fain, the new president of the UAW, one would believe that he's going to take everybody out on strike against all three, which would be unprecedented. Usually they pick one company and they strike that, and then they apply that pattern to everybody else. I don't know if the president heard the question correctly or not, but he may have insider information. You know, the UAW has decided they're not going to endorse him yet until they get some more money from the federal government. But as far as a strike, I think we should prepare for it. I think that they think they're going to strike, whether the president does or not.
In other labor news, Hollywood writers and the Writers Guild, they're still on strike. Can you believe it? It's been a while now.
Well, I felt like it would be September before they'd actually talk, because then they'd need some content.
And it's shutting down hundreds of productions and putting thousands of union and non-union film crew members and support staff out of work for months now. Plus, the Screen Actors Guild is now threatening to strike too. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Lydia, we've seen a dramatic increase in strike activity and unionization activity since COVID and since they came out. You know, the interesting part of the narrative, though, is that when you look at it, there is very much interest in getting rid of unions, too. In fact, the number of decertification elections, which means people throwing their union out of the workplace, is increased by 20% year over year. So it's more likely that a union member is involved in a decertification petition than it is that a non-union member is involved in getting a new union. So, you know, we've heard about Starbucks and others, but this strike in Hollywood, you know, I'm not sure people are paying attention. I guess those people that want new content, they're interested. And I think the people that are out there on the line, no matter what raise they get by now, I think they're 100 days on strike. I mean, I don't know how much better off they'll be when the strike is settled financially.
Yeah, maybe they think that Biden will come up with money because he tends to come up with money that's not his, right? But let me ask you about the dynamics of the UAW and other what I will call blue-collar unions. Because back in the day, they tended to vote Democratic. And then they became Reagan Democrats. And I would argue that they've kind of shifted to become Trump Republicans. And obviously I'm generalizing here, but I wanted your thoughts about that.
No, Bob, I think your analysis is spot on. I mean, the rank and file workers across this country believe in smaller government and secure borders and the Second Amendment and lower taxes and capping inflation. Those are bread and butter issues for rank and file workers. However, union officials and the divide between rank and file workers and union officials is growing wider and wider all the time. But look, President Trump would not have been elected in 2016 unless rank and file workers got behind him and got behind his agenda. And I suspect you're onto something, and your analysis, again, is spot on in the sense that rank and file workers have one view, union officials have the other, and precisely because the reason you articulated is there's lots of money flowing from Washington, and it's ending up in union headquarters, not in union members' pockets.
Yeah, that's one of the problems the Democrats have, is they're not that blue-collar heartland of America party. They're at least perceived as the elitist on the coast, and that's a problem, could be a problem. Mark Mix, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Lydia. Appreciate it.
Thank you.